What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be doing my honest review of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta. Now, in all honesty, when I first started playing the game, I was very hesitant. It took me a while to get used to, but after a lot of time and gameplay, I started getting better at the game. I started to learn what you needed to do and how to play the game and adapt my playstyle to the game, and I started doing well, started enjoying it a bit more. However, there is a lot of things that I want to cover in today's video. So let's start with the things I would call the middle ground. The learning curve takes a while. If you haven't played a Call of Duty game like this, if you haven't played one of the slower, more methodical games like Modern Warfare Remastered or some of the older Call of Duty games, then you will need to go back and play one of them, or maybe even play COD World War II, because it is a slower, more methodical game. And it does take time to adjust your playstyle to the style of the game. Verticality is a huge thing in Modern Warfare. In some of the maps, it's everywhere. There's lots of places to hide, there's lots of places to jump up to, lots of jump spots and parkour runs that you can do, which I think is a great thing, but I also think it's kind of too much on certain maps. Some of the maps you would have to look up in the middle of the map to try and find a guy that's looking almost directly down on you from the top of the map. This was one of the things in the Ground War map that was a little bit annoying, because you would get killed from somewhere and you think, where the f is that guy? Suddenly you look up and or see the kill cam and he's looking down from like the sky almost, because he's up on some really tall tower. And it got a little bit frustrating in that area, because I just didn't expect people to be there sometimes, and they were, and it just was like, right, okay, you can actually get on that. That's a little bit different. I'm going to have to keep that in mind going forward. Time to kill is a little bit fast in this game. I think 1 or 2 extra bullets may do it for most of the red guns. I think that might bring it in line with, say, Black Ops 2, for instance, which I think has one of the better time to kills in the Call of Duty franchise. I just think this one is more like Call of Duty Ghost. It seems that you can just get dinged across the map no matter what. I do like the fact that headshots do make a difference and do make you kill people quicker, but I don't like how fast you die in this game, so it's one of them. That's why it's in the middle ground. I'm not entirely too sure what to make of it. Bigger minimap in Ground War with more red dots or more zoomed out is great because of the size of the map. Having the red dots on the minimap, to me, showing enemy fire is where it should be in Call of Duty. It shouldn't be on the little compass thing that we have, or they should put the compass around the minimap. That's one of the suggestions what I've seen going around, is bend the compass around the minimap and put the red dots on that, so you can still identify where that gunfire is coming from. Because you look to the minimap for your information. You don't look at the top of the middle of the screen to see that information. I don't anyway. I'm so used to using the minimap in all the other Call of Duty games that that's where I look for information. Going on and staying on streaks is quite hard in this game. I find because you die so quickly, because the connections were very inconsistent, and some of the spawn logic and all sorts of different things were going on, it was very hard to stay alive in this game and get the nuke and get, you know, the really high-end streaks. The best streaks I was able to get is like Pavlov, the VTOL, and the Chopper Gunner. They were the ones that I ended up getting quite often, but I didn't get them as much as I would have liked to. And I also didn't get up to like a 15-20 kill streak very often. I think I got on a 24 or a 21 at some point in the beta, but it was like getting right near the end of the game, so I have really no chance of actually getting that nuke streak. But either way, I then got killed by some sort of missile, or actually what killed me was the VTOL shooting through the roof of a building. So I was quite annoyed at that. But matchmaking, I'll say it again, and I've said it many times, should be 100% connection based. If I had a NetDoomer router or anything else or any kind of software that would allow me to see what servers I'm connecting to and all that good stuff, then for me, I would have probably found out that I'm connecting to like Paris or some other servers in Europe or even American servers, because I just felt like the connections were so inconsistent. It didn't seem to matter what I used, what gun I used, what weapons I used. I would always run into someone that I just couldn't kill, or had so much of an advantage on me that when I look back at the kill cam, they're already shooting at me, they're already in my line of sight, and at that point, I haven't even aimed, I haven't even seen the person on my end. So it was very inconsistent connection-wise and gameplay-wise for that kind of thing, but I did enjoy it nevertheless. Harriers and other AI streaks shouldn't be able to shoot through roofs or anything like that, in my opinion. If you're inside a building, you should feel safe and content. That's what I think should happen. But either way, another thing that kept happening is you're not able to shoot through certain things. So there'd be a metal girder or something like that, and you'd be peeking through a hole in it. You'd fire through it and not get the kill. And I'm talking with a sniper rifle on a guy that stood still, and you would shoot through it and not get any hit markers, not get anything else either. It was very frustrating when that sort of thing was going on, because it was like, well, why are my bullets not doing anything? It's like the glitch where Semtexes were literally sticking on doors, and then if someone ran through it would just blow them up. But either way, I feel like the maps are very chaotic, and they're sort of based on the idea of a more slow, methodical gameplay that caters to the more campy playstyle. And where I do like it in the fact that there's lots of cover and lots of places to take cover if you really need to, I don't like the fact that someone can literally sit on a head glitch and not be able to do anything about it. Because if they're set up in the right place with a mounted bipod or anything like that, they're just going to be able to mow you down time and time again, unless you go around the back of them. And sometimes you've got claymores and stuff set up, and the claymores in this game are not fun to come up against. Even with EOD, I found that I was still dying to some of the claymores, so it's a little bit frustrating in that aspect. I wish they would do something about that, and hopefully they will before the game's launch. So let's move on to the bad points of this game. Claymores and campy playstyle and bouncing betties are something that is consistently killing me. Because I've tried EOD, I've tried the other perk which allows you to see claymores or hack them. Both perks I've used in conjunction with each other, or used them one at a time and tried to see which was the best one. And both times I've ended up dying to claymores, even though I still had them perks. EOD does work better than it did, but I think it still needs a bit of a buff against the damage of claymores and such. I don't think it should one-hit kill you if you have that perk equipped. You've made a trade-off to get that perk, so it should reward you for having that, in my opinion. Inconsistencies with connections, frame rate, performance of the game has been very, very hit and miss. Like, that's why I said inconsistencies. It's just been one game you'll do great and you're destroying everybody and it runs smooth as butter. The next game you're lagging all over the place. Every time you go to make a move, it lags from, you know, place to place. If you're trying to scroll your aim across on someone, it like stutters halfway through and you end up getting killed because you can't get your aim on quick enough to actually get that kill. And there's been a lot of different things that have been really annoying in regards to that, because going on streaks, like I mentioned earlier, is harder when that stuttering starts to kick in. Another thing is there was out of map glitches. I mean, there was people under the map, in the ground war map, just killing people left, right and centre. There was people out of the maps in Granza Raid, I think, as well at one point. Just people under the map killing people. It just doesn't make any sense to me. This should not be an issue. There shouldn't be any out of map exploits. I know it's a beta and I know that they will be working on fixing them. But God, I really hope that when we do get the full version of the game, The map exploits or new ones aren't found, and there isn't very many of them, because it is very frustrating to get into a game and not be able to do anything, because every time you run over a certain area there's a guy stood there with a shotgun just blasting you from underground. Spawns are ridiculous. I'll be honest. The amount of times I've spawned in front of people, the amount of times people have spawned in front of me, the amount of times I've spawned into a missile, like I've literally just spawned in and suddenly I'm dead. Like as soon as I spawn in I get hit by it, is quite insane. In Ground War you expect more inconsistencies with the spawns, because you're able to spawn on flags and objectives that you've captured, you're able to spawn on teammates, and that's fine. But if you're going to spawn me on a teammate, or spawn me on an objective, put me on a different floor to where all the enemies are, not right in front of them. Like, for the love of God, how many times I've spawned in and died instantly, I don't know, but there's been a lot of times where I've literally spawned in, I've had no spawn protection whatsoever, and I've just got melted, or sniped, or whatever, as soon as I've spawned in. And I was typical of, I have been critical of it, and done it myself. Like, I got 2 quad feeds in a couple of games or whatever by doing this method, because I ran in, there was a couple of people there, I picked them off, suddenly 2 more people appeared right in front of me and I'm able to get the kills. It's annoying that that's a thing, and I wish that they would do something about the spawn logic in this game, because it really needs fixing, and I know that they are working on it. They have mentioned it in the subreddits and everything like that. They've mentioned that they are going to be working on it, and I'm really hoping that it improves by the game's launch. The lighting in this game is crazy. I don't understand why, if you're looking at a window from the outside in, it's completely black and you can't see anything. Unless you're aimed down sight with a sniper or anything like that. The same can be said from outside, inside to outside though, where you look out the window and it's completely white, almost. It's just completely bright, you can't really do anything about it, it's just so bright that your eyes are struggling to adjust to it, and then by the time they do, you've probably got picked off by a sniper that's sat on top of a mountain somewhere. I mean, it's very frustrating. I don't like the fact that that is a thing that we need to worry about in this game. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be based on so much realistic. We should be able to, you know, have a game that plays really well, that's fluid and works well for a game. I know they want the realistic feel, but there is some aspects of the realisticness of a game that need to be sacrificed to make the gameplay experience better. The game definitely caters to the camping playstyle. The slower gameplay is definitely what this game suits. And that's why if you play more slowly, you play more methodically, you tend to be able to go on longer streaks and different things like that. Especially if you're locking down the building. Don't get me wrong, you can play aggressive, you can play the way you want to play. But if someone is literally sat in a building waiting for you to run up them stairs, or has claymores or anything else set up, you're more than likely going to be at a disadvantage. It takes too long to get back into the game. I don't like the animation of zooming into the map. I think, yeah, if I click spawn, zoom me into the map straight away. Don't have the 3-second delay, and then have me basically not know what's happening for a couple of seconds while I'm like, well, why isn't it doing anything? And then zoom me into the map. Just get me back in the action. That's what people know and love Call of Duty for. Being able to jump from being not in the action at all to being in the action straight away and getting back into the game, getting back into the fast-paced movement thing. And it, to me, that is what Call of Duty's been based on for a long time, and it makes sense for me for them to speed it up a little bit, to make it, you know, that bit faster of a spawning, because otherwise it's a bit jarring on the people that are playing who just want to get back in the fight. You just want to get back in the fight. I can understand loading up the kill cams and everything like that and making sure that people can watch them, fine, but do not give me a spawn delay of even a few seconds. I just don't want that. I just want to be back in the fight straight away as fast as possible, because I love that aspect of Call of Duty of being able to just jump straight back in the fight and be back in the action straight away. That's what I love. But in this game, I don't think that they're going to end up changing that. They may reduce it a little bit, but we'll see what happens. The Screen of Darkness, or the Mist of Death, as I call it. It's when you get injured, when you're getting shot at, your screen goes black and white. I do not like this feature at all. And yes, it might be realistic. You might get hazed when you get shot at. I haven't a clue because I've never been shot. And I never really want to be shot, of course. But I feel like in a video game, this black and white screen thing is just not what I want in Call of Duty. It's just not a thing that I think adds to anything to the game. In fact, it just makes it harder to stay alive. It just hinders your ability to stay alive, in my opinion, because obviously when it's colour, you can recognise enemies, you can recognise people more easily. But when it's black and white, it's just a silhouette with a name tag above it, and you can't even see whether the name tag is red or blue. So you don't know whether to shoot them or not. To me, it's a bad idea. It's not something that I think innovates in any way. I don't think it's a necessary change either. But it's something that I would love to see them just either tone it really down until you're at your last bit of health and you're going to die anyway, or just get rid of it completely. I think it would change the game. I think it would make a big difference if they did remove that. Kill streaks are super loud. I mean, I ended up turning, I think my settings now are something like 40 for kill streak sound, or 40 for in-game sound and stuff like that, and then like 100 on the master volume, but everything else is turned right down to like 40 and 50, because they're just too loud, man. Like, you're calling a Harrier, yes, I've experienced a Harrier doing its hover over the top of me. I've heard how loud these military jets are, and the helicopters. I have heard them firsthand in the real world. But in a video game, when all you can hear is that, and you're trying to listen for footsteps and listen to game cue audio and stuff like that, the score streaks are drowning out the announcers, they're drowning out the little cool music when you level up and stuff like that. It's drowning out everything if someone gets a VTOL or someone gets a chopper gunner or a Pavlov. To me, it's just too much. They need to tone it down a little bit. I've been using headphones 1, by the way, as my audio setting. It's by far the best one I've found so far. But I just think it needs to be a thing of them just toning it down slightly, even if it is only by 25 volume points or something like that, just to give people a bit more audio that they want to hear. Yes, it's cool to have the score streaks come in and fly over the top of you and have the really cool animations where they go up in the air and everything, and credit where credit is due, Infinity Ward. They look fucking amazing. But I'll be honest, they are too loud. Kill streaks do not loop. This is something that I find bizarre that they decided to do. They decided to take kill streak looping out, so you can't earn multiple chopper gunners in a life. I don't understand why not, because if you are not using the kill chain perk, which allows you to call in a Harrier and then that get you your Pavlov or whatever your next streaks are, I don't understand why it isn't a thing for score streaks to loop or kill streaks to loop. If you get UAV and that's the highest one you're using, say you're using personal UAV, UAV and counter UAV, why not allow us to just continuously earn them if we're going for the nuke? It would just make it so much easier and so much more useful for people. That, to me, that would be the no-brainer best way of going about it. However, if you do have the kill chain perk equipped, your kill streaks should not loop, because otherwise you'd be looping through streaks like crazy, especially in the ground war mode, and it would be very, very hard to break people at the streaks. So, moving on to the good points of the game. This is by far the best looking Call of Duty game I have ever played. And I'll be honest with you guys, Infinity Ward has done a fantastic job of everything in this game. I feel like they've done a fantastic job of everything they've done in this game, with the way the maps are designed, the way the maps look, the locations they've picked for the current maps that we have in the game, the way it's so realistic with the cover and everything that you would find in these situations and buildings and stuff like that, like little cabinets that fell over and all sorts of stuff. I think that the maps are designed very well. I think they're designed with a lot of slower gameplay in mind. That's definitely something that I've noticed. But the gun sounds and the general sounds of the game are amazing. The way the game looks, the way the game feels is really, really good, and I'm really enjoying it. And I really enjoyed it while the beta was still about. The map design has a lot of variety. It enables you to play in any way that you want. You can run around with a shotgun, an SMG, an LMG, a sniper, a marksman rifle, a pistol, for Christ's sake. You can literally run around with a rocket launcher if you really desired to do so. And I love the fact that you are able to play the way that you want to, with the playstyle that you want to. Yes, your playstyle may have to adapt a little bit to adjust to the maps and the way that the game plays, but it still allows you to play your own way. Moving on to the gunsmith. One of the biggest changes that Call of Duty has ever seen, really. The gunsmith allows for so much customization, to the point where if you put the wrong attachments on a weapon, it can ruin that weapon for you, or it can make it. It's literally a customization system that either makes and breaks your weapon choices. And if you make the right decision, you can come up with some fantastic class setups and do really well with them. Now, in all honesty, do I think that that's a great thing? Yes. But do I think that there should be negatives on all attachments? Not necessarily. Some of them we weren't able to have access to. The current weapon level cap at the end of the beta was 30 or 20 for the snipers, or some weapons were 25, some were 20, some were 30. God knows how many weapon levels there are. I assume there's going to be hundreds, maybe, or maybe the maximum were like 60 or 100, something like that. But I feel like the customization for this is endless, and we have already seen the fact that there is attachment variants in this game that we're able to get through customization options and different things like that. So I'm really looking forward to that aspect of it. The customization side of things looks very, very good. New modes such as the ground war and cyber attack play extremely well. I jumped into cyber attack for like 2-3 games and went absolutely off and won the game for our team multiple times. I think one of the games I ended 9-1 or something crazy like that. It was just one of them. I ended up with a VTOL score streak in cyber attack, which isn't really useful, but it was there and I enjoyed it. The realism mode is a lot of fun. The night vision goggle mode is something else, and I think it's gonna be one of them where I feel like it just needs to be in the normal rotation for people to play it, especially if it's in the realism mode thing. I think they should make a core version of it that isn't so realistic, you know, that would match nicely with the core gameplay and core game modes, so that when you're in them lobbies, you've got the option to opt for that thing and play that if you really want to. Fun factor. This game has it. It is a fun game to play, as long as the connections and everything are consistent. It's fun to play, and regardless of whether the connections were bad or not, at times I was still having fun. I was laughing my head off with some of the stuff that was happening in the game. For example, a guy getting blown out of a hole because he jumped down a hole and there happened to be a claymore there and he went flying. Example number 2, throwing a grenade at someone and seeing them get blown off a building and go absolutely miles is hilarious. But I just really enjoyed it. And parkour is back. You can jump from building to building, you can jump from ledge to ledge and climb up things and find little rush routes and different things that you may have never seen anyone do before. And I think the jumps and spots videos are going to be back this year. I really do, because there's going to be so many different spots to go to, so many different spots you're able to venture to and create your own from. And I think it's just a really, really good way of playing the game, is being able to take routes that people wouldn't expect. Using your brain a little bit more as a more advanced player helps you get them more kills and helps you do better in the game. So obviously, the more little jump spots and little places that you can find that you can get to without people seeing you, but it gives you an advantage to see them, great. I really, really think that that's a great idea. It is going to get a little bit annoying if I come up against someone that's using them spots against me, but I'm not going to mind, because I know that they've used their brain to get up there, and I'll know where they are, so I will probably be able to take them out. Editing a class mid-game. Something that I never thought I would see in Call of Duty, something that's always annoyed me about Call of Duty, is not being able to change up the class that I'm using as I play. But in this game, you can do that. You can swap a launcher on. You can swap to overkill and add a sniper or whatever if you want to in Ground War. And it's not a feature that I used a ton, but it was a feature I definitely used when I started unlocking new attachments and stuff. I would unlock a new attachment and I would sit down or lay down somewhere prone, go into the menu system and add that attachment to the gun as I play. So when I die and spawn in again, I've already got that attachment on the weapon. I don't have to think about going in and put it in the pre-game lobby. I don't have to think about that anymore. I can just do it in game, which I think personally is a great addition to Call of Duty. Yeah, it might get a little bit annoying with people running dead silence and other things and throwing all the really sweaty perks on, if you want to call them that, to counteract really sweaty players. But to me, at least you've got the option to switch out your class. You've got the option to switch out the things that you've got on that class, especially if you don't want to change the weapon that you're using. Say you got comfortable with the M4 and that's what you want to use, then obviously to me the best thing to do would be swap the perks out, swap the secondary out, maybe swap the equipment that you've got out, or even the field upgrade. To me, that's a better way of doing things than just being like, well, I'm stuck with this class all game if I don't want to use any other gun. Moving on, the general animations are amazing. The way that you can see the Harrier go up and do the like loop-de-loop sort of thing and then come down in the hover and take people out and stuff. The way that the helicopters and everything just look and the way the game feels and plays. The animations, to me, are by far the thing that makes this game stand out from the other Call of Duty games. I think it stands out so much because of the more realistic animations, but the also more realistic look of the game overall. And I'll be honest, the variety of player count, the variety of modes that we have 2v2, 6v6, 10v10, 20v20, and 32v32 at the moment. I'm sure there's a 50v50 map somewhere. They may end up dropping that in. They may end up making Ground War just a mix of all the bigger modes, the bigger multiplayer modes. So like 32v32, 20v20, and 50v50, for example, might be in Ground War. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to handle that, but we'll see when the game releases. Another thing that I want to just go into is the vehicles in Ground War. Something I missed off the middle ground is maybe there's too many tanks in Ground War. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I feel like they should tone it down a little bit. Maybe even remove the tanks and the helicopters from Ground War for a specific mode, like a limited time mode, and see whether that works out better. I'm not sure, but I kind of like the tanks. I kind of like the element that you can just jump in the tank and take people out, and it doesn't really count to score streaks or anything like that. So if you do want to play that way, you do get penalised with that. You know, you're not able to earn your streaks, you're not able to get as many kills or get as many really nice things out of it because you are in that tank. It gives you a disadvantage, so there is a trade-off there. The last thing I want to mention is that the vehicles actually handle very well. I expected them to be very clunky, very, you know, hard to control and not very well optimized for the game and stuff like that. And I have to say that the ground war mode is the least optimized out of all the modes that we played, but it was also the most fun. And like I said, the fun factor of this game is definitely there. Yes, it can be frustrating and annoying at times, but so was Modern Warfare 2, and people still love that game to this day. So I think, final thoughts, this game has a lot of potential. I've really enjoyed my time with it so far, and I'm really excited for the release of this game. I can't wait to see what they have in store with the campaign, or the Spec Ops mode, and just generally getting a more positive vibe off the community now as well, with the way that people are playing the game and seeing the game now that people have got their hands on it. And yeah, it does seem to have split the community quite a bit. There is people that don't like it, there's people that absolutely love it, and I'm sort of on the fence. I'm about 60-40 positive, because there is quite a few negatives there, but the positive aspects of the game and the changes that they've made do kind of outweigh them a little bit, and the amount of enjoyment I got out of it does definitely outweigh the negatives that I experienced. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.